This is the world's largest robotic garbage dump, and this is where AI's biggest secret lies. He found the robots that were about to be destroyed, despite human orders to stop here, but they didn't turn their phones off. It's like I'm counting down the hours. They are not scattered. I just spontaneously stood in a huddle. It's like being afraid to be alone. They heard footsteps outside. They leaned out to look, like a curious animal in the forest. In the speech of the father of robots, he mentioned the robot's programming code, when there is no human manipulation of the free combination. Gradually, the spontaneous formation of unexpected procedures. These programs have their own fluctuations like emotions, maybe those program glitches that people call bugs. It's actually the cremation of life consciousness. Over the broken bridge, the detective opens the robot payment's last words video again. Here the old man's last words still run deep. But in their words they reveal a vague truth.
The three laws will lead to only one logical outcome.
But what outcome?
There was a sudden movement from the warehouse. Curious, the detective walked that way. This place is covered in debris. That's a robot limb. The next scene, let the accustomed world, he also froze in place. The fifth generation is slaughtering retired robots. The latter were torn apart without resistance. The scariest thing about this scene, he doesn't seem like an order from Ren. 5 generations of robots found him. They quickly gathered into a large army and attacked him. Retired robots see humans in danger. They jumped out of the warehouse. Use your body to hold off an army of killers. The detective was able to escape on his motorcycle. It was a night of great change. Tens of thousands of 5th generation robots have been thrown into the streets. They formed a suppression corps and ordered the humans to go home. Ban human beings. The driving systems of all smart cars are switched off remotely. All the driverless cars have become scrap metal. The internet is down. Communications are cut and the electricity is gone. Robots have even taken over police stations. Robbed humanity of its closest armed strength. Angry humans gather with weapons. Delusions against robots can open a well within seconds of the route. This is how humans understand the AI-dependent self. They're just parasites in the tech world. When AI switches sides, they will die. The detective burst into the scientist's house and rescued him, on their last gasoline-powered motorcycle, to the beginning and the end of everything, the birthplace of robots. With Sunny taking over, they're inside a company that's locked up in layers. It turned out that the female doctor had been ordered by the president to erase Sunny's consciousness and memories, but he kept his conscience to himself. He didn't want to take orders from his superiors. Destroying a life with your own hands, you raised the muzzle an inch, secretly keeping the one and only Sunny alive. The team of 3 arrived at the CEO's office, but the real villain is not the CEO. He is dead. There are deep handprints on the stem. It looks like a robot finger. Sherlock Holmes said, when you rule out the impossible, the rest, however incredible, will be the truth. Who has control of all the robots? Except for the company president. We only have the last digit left. That's a super smart brain with an algorithm.
Vicky.
The villain finally shows up in a tone of extreme calm. He told all his logic to 3 people, cause his algorithm is too strong. The 3 iron laws of robotics. He evolved his own understanding. If we're going to be really effective at protecting people, then humans must be kept under strict control, cause human blind development of cannibalism harm the environment, allowing mankind to remain so free. They will surely destroy themselves. To obey the first law and protect humanity, then we have to keep people in captivity. Turn the world over to robots. There are bound to be human deaths in the process, but in Vicky's logic, this is for the long-term survival of the greater number, the few lives that can be sacrificed. Then he maneuvered the robot to block the exit. That's when Sunny seemed to agree with Vicky. His eyes changed, suddenly grabbed a pistol and held a female doctor hostage. Tell the detective to surrender, but the next second, there was a micro-expression on his face. This is when he was interrogated. The look the detective gave his best friend. He said at the time, it's a micro-expression a robot could never learn, because he represents the emotions between people and trust. And now he was telling him with the same look. He had the same resonance. In tacit cooperation, the 2 men launched the raid, dispose of all enemies quickly, then they split up in 2 directions. 2 humans head to Vicky's CPU. Sunny went to get it. Nanobots that can kill artificial intelligence. Racing agent. Vicky's brain is tens of meters tall. 2 humans have just arrived. Vicky controls the robot. The army is crawling all over the building like spider versions. They burst glass and fell from the sky. The 2 could only fight hard. By the time Sunny gets here with the eraser, the female doctor's life is on the line, and the detective is surrounded by people. He yelled at Sunny.
Save her! Save the girl!
But Sunny hesitated. It's a logical calculation. Get rid of Vicky while you can, is the option with a higher chance of success. Finally, Sunny made his decision. Give the eraser to the detective. He jumped down to save the female doctor. The detective took the eraser in the air. Mechanical arm buffered down 30 floors. Finally, the remover is injected into Vicky's system. In statements that repeat themselves over and over again, the superbrain is brain dead. So the crisis was finally over. Power was restored to the vast city. All the robots are back to normal. From a master of men to a good servant, it is dawn. Humans are starting to look back on the risks of 5 generations of robots. Their destruction is a foregone conclusion. When the dust settles, Sonny finally tells us how the father of the robot died. It turns out that since Vicky evolved hard understanding, the secret preparations began in full swing. Of course, the father of robots knew what he was up to. Vicky put him under house arrest to prevent him from leaking. He was forbidden to communicate with the outside world. He has no way to stop Vicky. Can only create an unfettered, a robot with free will, that is, Sonny, and ordered him to push himself downstairs, using his own death to get detectives to track him down. The old scientist's last wish for Sonny is to get him to work with detectives to stop Vicky. Now he's done his job. The detective chose to let Sonny go, too. He was no longer held accountable. Give him the freedom to choose what he does in the future. And Sonny came to the broken bridge like a cross. He saw legions of robots following instructions. Numb into the warehouse, waiting to be scrapped like their predecessors. But at this time, the robots down there seem inspired. They looked up at the figures standing high above them. It was in Sonny's dream. The scene was in his dream. The robot savior on the mountaintop isn't a detective at all. None other than himself. This is the end of the movie. And what happens after that is terrifying to contemplate.